I am the chair of the board of Room at the Inn, and born and raised in Marquette, nearly lifelong Marquette City resident. The decision that the board made tonight was not an easy decision for you to make. And it was not an easy request for us to make. We are adapting to what I think is a danger, a crisis, as best we can, and an acute crisis with the weather turning the way it's turning. I think the decision that you made tonight is probably going to save lives. So I very much appreciate that. I also just wanted to say that the lives that you are saving, we know that there are many people that Room at the Inn serves that struggle with addiction, struggle with criminality. Room at the Inn also serves many people who are elderly, who are sick. We serve people who have intact families, who have young children. We serve people who are employed. So there are a lot of people who use our services, who need those services, whose health and welfare will be benefited from the decision that the commission has made tonight. We are going to work as much as we can to comply, of course, with negotiating an agreement here, but also complying with many of the concerns that the commission has raised. Some of what the commission would like to see in these contracts, I think, sounds very reasonable. So I think we will be able to find a solution that works for everybody. And again, I very much appreciate your vote. Thank you.
So after our work session, we got through a lot of the details from the staff on what places would work best. I feel that directing them to work towards Presque Isle Pavilion makes the most sense. I don't feel like the Barriga Gym was the ideal solution for anything city-wise, so I would like them to look at that. I do have a couple standards that I would like to see in a contract. I don't know if I can tell you outright, and everyone else can do it. I want there to be a solid start and end date. Like it ends on this day. There's no chance to extend. This is the day the city is done using our allowing services. I want to make sure that the number is limited to maximum 10. That even if the overfill ends up having more than that, it is 10 people at maximum at any point. I want to make sure that there's no loitering or guests that are over, that when it starts and ends, they come into sleep and then everyone leaves, to make sure that we are taking care of it. Obviously, I don't want to see any drugs or anything, and I would like to see the police do a walkthrough with the dog every night just to ensure that there's nothing on city property. We can't have any of that on our property, so I want to make sure that we are taking care of it in that respect. And I think that's all I have besides the other. Yeah. Suzanne's got a question for me. Never mind. Okay, never mind. Suzanne doesn't have a question for me. All right, but just something to make sure that we are really writing down everything that we need to do to protect not only our unhoused residents, but to also protect the city and its buildings as well.
Mr. Gottlieb.
I agree with everything that Commissioner Hanley said. I would like to also make sure that the city does assure that it is completely, or as completely as possibly, indemnified by the Room at the Inn. I'm not sure how that could be written, but I would like to minimize the liability to the city as much as possible. I also would like to make sure that in the contract, Room at the Inn has a minimum of one person there awake 24 hours written into the contract, and preferably two people. And if that one person is not there, then the building is not used. And lastly, I would request, I don't know how this could be in the contract, but that Room at the Inn has excluded other facilities such as the Armory.
Anybody else? Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, a couple things with this. Obviously, this is going to require a special meeting. Is that something that should be in the motion?
Suzanne says
no. No? Okay.
If or when the details are worked out, city staff will just make sure to get that scheduled appropriately with the Open Meetings Act requirements and things like that.
Perfect. Okay. I do have concerns from a liability standpoint. I think the city needs to be very careful from a liability standpoint when it comes to any type of housing or any type of just renting of facilities to anyone. So we need to make sure that our taxpayers are protected to ensure that we're not having to make necessary repairs that potentially could arise from some sort of issue that wouldn't be covered by insurance. So we need to make sure that Room at the Inn is able to take care of that. And ultimately, that is probably my biggest concern with this, except for the safety of and well-being of our staff. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the contract is, what comes out of it, and hopefully it's something we can work through.
Commissioner Davis.
You have problems with my name tonight.
Well, it's you're sitting so far away from me.
I have some reluctancy with this option, and part of it comes from the liability that was talked about by our city attorney. I think the park and the facilities are vulnerable. The transportation is an issue for the Room at the Inn. The response time for police and fire are an issue. So it does require some city resources. But beyond that, we need to take care of this population, and this is a very dire need. And I'm going to vote yes, even though I am reluctant to, but we need to make this work. We need to make this work so that it not only has a safe place for these people to spend the evenings or the nights, but also so that we have this option in the future, because if it doesn't work, this will not be an option. So I think all parties are interested in making it work, and I really believe that it will. So for that reason, I am going to vote yes.
Commissioner Larson?
I think the only thing I would add to the commission anyway is that I would like to see this essentially as a one-time, emergency issue that we have here. And so having a start and stop date, as some of our other commissioners have said, our facilities are not set up to be overnight facilities. And so I think, we're really in a position where we may not have other choices. And so if we can, do it as a one-time contract or a one-time 4-week period, that would be my preference, and that it wouldn't be a recurring year-over-year situation that would come back before us. So I'm in support of moving forward or with this particular motion, but mostly on those conditions that I wouldn't be interested in doing this again next year or the following year.
One other comment, that while the city is working on a contract and while we are considering, I guess it's just an ask for a Room at the Inn, and that is that you research other facilities like the Armory and like the Commons, and maybe there are some others out there that actually would be a better solution than what we're talking about at Presque Isle. So that's an ask.
Okay. We did a pretty thorough job of wringing this out during our work session. My biggest concern is that we have history going against us with what's happened in the past when we decided to help house during COVID. And I think that Chelsea did a really nice job of bringing up the efforts that Room at the Inn has made to help, not insure, but to do their best to limit anything that may resemble what some of the bad things that happened during that period of time. And we have to take the steps here to, in hopes that we can just do this for the month. I think you're smart, Commissioner Larson, to bring up the fact that we need to have a solid end date on this, and we need to make sure that this is not something that is consistently going to come back to us. I'm slightly concerned about what happens if the next option after our month of helping house would not go as well as it could, and they would need to have to open up other options for the future. But I'm going to try and keep my glass half full with this topic and hope that we won't need to revisit it. With that being said, yes.
Can I just add that the city staff works with Chelsea to make sure all these final points, I assumed it's more than assumed probably, but just to make sure that Room at the Inn is at the table while this contract is being done, I think would be a good plan.
Yeah, if you don't mind, Mayor, I do think it's important to note that we we'll be drafting something up and coordinating and talking with Room at the Inn, with Chelsea, and trying to get some sort of consensus and address some of the concerns on both sides before we call a special meeting, just so that we have it all hashed out and can be incredibly effective. Now, we just have to look at the timing of this week and understanding that this is a priority, but we do have a holiday working up against us, so we're going to move as quickly as we can and reasonably as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else, commissioners? Great. Okay, we're going to put this to a vote. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? No. Motion passes 6-0. That brings us to our second public comment.
Chelsea Wilkinson, Room at the Inn. Thank you. I know that this wasn't an easy vote or discussion. I know that there are still a lot of kinks to work out. But you're right. On its face, both of our priorities are making sure that our community is safe, finding solutions that work for both Room at the Inn, the city, and our shared constituents, whether that are our housed ones or our unhoused ones. And just know that as we kind of take this day by day and we figure out what works best, just know that, again, Room at the Inn, we have the best interest of the entire community at heart. So I don't take your feedback lightly. I don't take your asks or suggestions lightly. And just know that we will make sure that we do what we need to do to best serve the folks that we have been entrusted to serve. So I do also want to shout out, as much as we talk about how amazing the city staff has been to mobilize, I also want to say I have 3 incredible staff members here who wanted to be here. I didn't ask them to be here. They are here because they want to be here. And that really is just the tip of the iceberg of the devotion and passion that I have on my staff. And so it simply would not be possible without their dedication too. So I know that there are many staff that don't want to clean up or do all the things, but someone is going to, and chances are it's going to be me or my staff. So I do want to publicly take this moment to thank my staff. Thank you. Thanks.
Abigail Andrews, also with Room at the Inn. I'm a social worker there, and I just wanted to say how grateful, 447 West Washington Street. I just wanted to say how grateful we are that you are stepping into a space of a little bit of uncomfortability for us and all of the people that we serve, and we are extraordinarily grateful. And I also understand the concerns of this being a recurring issue in the years following, and I want to assure you that we will do everything possible in the next year to continue finding alternative solutions for the ongoing housing crisis here. So thank you all very, very much.
On this topic of the homeless here, I know everybody wants to help these people who wouldn't want to help somebody in need. I didn't know that all you guys were going to address it the way you had, which is like, I'm glad that you guys all have that understanding of the problem. And but as you know, just to help one, the needs of one, you can't trample on the needs of others. And myself, having spent most of my time in the military, and my parents were in the military as well. And East Coast, West Coast, big cities, small cities, you always got a homeless problem. And that's the area, wherever those people congregate as a place, especially when I had young children, you want to stay away from those areas. I mean, there's some people genuinely aren't going to cause harm to anybody, but at the same time, there are those, like I said, you got addiction, criminality, and stuff like that. And that you guys are all here, that's, I mean, that you work there and you're involved in that day to day.
Excuse me, sir. You just need to address the commission, please.
All right.
Thank you.
So anyway, so I'm thankful that those people here as well for on this big concern were theirs part, and that your decision went the way that it did to make a move to help them even at a temporary basis, and that these temporary bases don't become permanent as well. So, which is a tend to happen. You find a fix one way and you want to go there again. And so I thank you guys for addressing the problem and covering it the way you guys did. Thank you.
492, I know I'm not a city person, but I do run my programs out of the city gym. And like everybody said, you want to help out and you want to do as much as you can. So from my program, I know we're very grateful that you guys are looking at some alternate options, just for the safety of the people that actually utilize the city gym. We're grateful because obviously there's some concerns when you guys were, or we heard that that was a possibility. So we just want to thank you. And I know it's never easy. We have to help as many people as we can. So I appreciate you guys doing that and making that motion to have it be at the pavilion potentially. So thank you.